Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Getting Started with TradeStation platform. It's great to be here to talk a little bit about functionality and how you can make the most out of the TradeStation trading platform. Today, we're going to highlight the TradeStation Desktop. And if it's your first time here in class, my name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. And I always get excited about these classes because I get to showcase some of the great things that have been implemented on the TradeStation platform. But before we get started, here are some important disclosures. Just keep in mind that every symbol that I mention here is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation. Also, that active trading is not suitable for everyone, and that past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. There is a link here for additional details if anybody needs to go there, www.tradestation.com/important information. And my colleague, Manolo, who's going to be moderating the chat, has shared that link right there in the chat, just in case you want to jump directly from there. Okay, great to have you. TradeStation, let me go ahead and switch over to the TradeStation desktop, all right, and talk a little bit about TradeStation. I'm not sure how long you guys have been with TradeStation already. This is a getting started class, so I'm going to assume that you are all very new to the TradeStation platform. We're going to introduce some technology today in terms of charting, scanning, and trading. So those are the three main areas that this presentation will focus on. We don't have a lot of time, so we can't really, show you everything that is part of the TradeStation platform. I mean, in the past 40 years that TradeStation has been around, there are many tools that make up the platform, and it's become a very sophisticated platform. So if you need additional information, then what I'm going to provide you today, we do have a masterclass series that dives deeper onto TradeStation's technology. We have those on Tuesdays, and you're welcome to check those out. All getting started classes and masterclass classes are posted on the events page of the TradeStation platform. Manolo has shared that link right there. You can periodically check the link to see what the upcoming topics are going to be and register for any if you'd like to do so. So thank you guys for taking time out of your schedules and be here to learn about TradeStation. So this is the TradeStation desktop, what you're looking at. When you fund a TradeStation brokerage account, you're going to get access to many trading platforms. You get this one, which is the TradeStation desktop, but you also get access to our simplified version of TradeStation, which is our web trading platform. And you also get access to a mobile app. So you can access your TradeStation account in multiple ways. And you're going to choose the platform that best suits you. A lot of times we tend to use a combination of all. If you are on your main computer, your main desktop, you're going to want to have the TradeStation desktop installed because that's the more, let's see, the one that has all the bells and whistles. That's where you find the advanced technical ideas and technical indicators, strategies, automation, whatever it is you want to find, you're going to probably find it on the TradeStation desktop. If you're on the go and you're somewhere else, traveling, and you have access to a family member's computer, you can access your account using a web browser. So you don't really have to install anything on anybody's computer. You can just pull up internet browser and access web trading there. Or you can, if you don't have access to a computer, you can just grab your mobile device and install TradeStation mobile app there and access your TradeStation account. So the way that I see it is that you're going to use all three platforms as a complement of each other. So I'm not going to sit here and say one is better than the other, but please experiment and explore all of them to see which one fits your needs better. Okay, so this is the TradeStation desktop. I have it up here. This is the way that it comes up the first time that you log into TradeStation. You get this little modal, which provides information about what's new on the TradeStation platform. Many times it's going to be just fixes that make the TradeStation desktop more stable and running more efficiently on your computer. So you can go through all the different things that have been applied on update 71. That's the most recent update of this TradeStation platform. But I'm just going to click on the X here. And this is the TradeStation Today workspace. If you've been using the TradeStation Desktop for some time already, maybe this TradeStation Today workspace is nowhere to be found. Sometimes, we close it, we don't know how to find it. But if that's the case, go here to the apps menu, and you're going to find the TS Today button right here on the very top. The TS Today workspace is just designed to give you or to keep you up to date of what's happening here at TradeStation. Right here in this box on the left-hand side, we have a collection of videos that were recently created on the TradeStation Desktop. So these are like quick starts. These are videos anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes, and they just give you a high-level presentation on some of the main applications of the TradeStation Desktop. So make sure that you're watching those videos if you need to do so. Right here at the bottom, we have some workspaces that are recommended or recent workspaces. In my classes, I usually start my workspaces from scratch because I want to show everyone how to create them if they had nothing. But if you are struggling trying to find ways in which you can set up your applications, and the workspaces here are good examples on how you can combine workspaces and organize your applications so that the workspace is useful. And you can use those workspaces as templates or as starting points, and then you can build on top of them. Or if you want to, create workspaces from scratch, you can do that as well. So that's workspaces. The desktop comes with built-in workspaces that you can check, and that's what the boxes there will show you. Right here in the middle, we have posts that are made on the now X platform, formerly known as Twitter. And here on the right-hand side, we have an events calendar. This gets updated weekly, so you can see upcoming events here. Today is September 12th, right? No, today's September 13th right here. So we have the desktop presentation. Tomorrow, we have market trends with David Russell. David Russell is VP of Market Intelligence for TradeStation Securities. And he does a weekly presentation on Thursdays where he showcases some of his ideas and some of his custom indicators. So make sure that you join him there. This one right here is the Tuesday presentation that I was alluding to. This is my masterclass. This one right here is on easy language. Notice that it says get indicator data right in the chart analysis status line with easy language. Sometimes, I do a programming language. One of the things that TradeStation allows you to do is create custom studies and custom strategies. So you're not limited to what comes inside of the platform. Any idea that you can think of or any methodology can be created on the TradeStation platform using its proprietary language, which we call easy language. And in this case, this class in particular next Tuesday will show you how to get indicator data on the status line. The status line, let me see if I can open up a new workspace here. We go to apps, and I'm going to click on chart analysis. We're going to go here first in this getting started class. So it's a good time for me just to open up a chart analysis. So the status line is this information that you find right here at the top of the chart analysis window. It provides you, data on the last traded price, the opening, the high, the low, the close, the volume. So all that information is up here. You can also get get your custom numbers up there as well. So if you want to have like a special calculated value, even if it's just a simple thing as an ATR, you can have it up there so that it doesn't take up space here in your chart. A lot of times, yeah, we do have some technical indicators like moving averages, and we look at Bollinger Band, but a lot of times we don't have, or we don't want the actual indicator line displayed on the chart. We may just want a little bit of a value, like the ATR. Sometimes, we look at ATR, and yeah, sometimes we want to see where the ATR has been historically, but a lot of times we just, we were just interested in what the ATR is right now. So having it up here as a number in the status line makes sense. So that's what the class is about, creating indicators to push indicator data on that status line, okay? By the way, the chat is open. You're welcome to ask questions as we go along. That's it's a great opportunity for you to get your questions answered, so feel free to do so, okay? Okay, so great. George submitted his first question. Is there a way to add padding to the top and right side of the chart? Yes, there is. So let's go ahead and talk about charting a little bit. I'll show it to you, George, in just a moment. Let me just resize this chart so it fills more of the screen. Okay. This is the 5-minute chart of Bank of America. You can see the symbol and the time frame right here on the top left corner. You have a time frame drop down that allows you to select different time frames. If what you're looking for is not here, let's say, for example, that you want to load a 65-minute chart instead of a 60-minute chart. So a lot of traders argue that if you build a 60-minute chart, you'll have hourly charts up until the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you have this 30-minute chart because the market's open for another 30 minutes. So the market is open 6.5 hours. So when you do 60 minutes, there's always one bar that is not exactly 1 hour. So they would rather do a 65-minute chart that pretty much distributes the data evenly into six 65-minute bars. So that's one of the reasons why some traders argue that 65 is a more equalizer when it comes to a time frame. So if I wanted to use a 65-minute, I don't see it here, but I can type it in. Today I'm going to show you some commands that you can type in on the chart to make things easier. So I'm going to type in 65 space MIN. As soon as you start pressing keys on the keyboard, the command line pops up. The command line is your friend because you can type in commands and make changes to the chart. One of those changes is a time frame. You can see that I just typed in 65 space MIN, and if I hit enter on the keyboard, the chart changes to 65 minutes quickly, right? Let me squeeze the chart. I'm going to reduce the bar spacing using the down arrow key. If I do that, for several times, you can see how the data squeezes on the left-hand side. So the chart doesn't automatically load historical data, and that's okay. You can fill the chart requesting more data. The thing is that TradeStation has a default amount of data, so that when you pull up a time frame, it automatically loads that data, and it's a little bit more efficient. A lot of people don't need a lot of historical data, but if you do, for example, right now I'm looking at a 65-minute chart and I want to fill my chart with data, I'm going to request it. And you can also use the command line to request that data. So let's suppose that I want to just type in here, and I'm going to type in 6 months. Notice that it's just a straight data request, 6 months. You can use days, you can use months, you can use weeks. So whatever number of days, month, or weeks, you can just type it in, hit enter, and this will do a PD right here on the top left. You can see that it says PD. Well, not anymore, because it already loaded the 6 month of historical data for me. Didn't quite fill the whole chart, so I'm going to do 1 year. 1 year. Again, PD right here at the top. PD is pending data. Text, and there we go. So now we have 1 year worth of 65-minute chart or 65-minute data on the chart. So just be aware of that, because a lot of times you're going to squeeze the chart using the down arrow key, and then you're going to have this black space on the right-hand side, which I have it still. I'm going to have 2 years of data, and you're going to have to load historical data for that. And as you save the workspace, all that data is going to be saved. You don't have to continuously do that, okay? Now, to George's question, he was asking about padding at the top and at the bottom. Well, he said padding to the top and to the right. The right, is space to the right, and that is a setting right here on a window. I use a lot of shortcuts here on my platform, and one that I use is double clicking on items that I want to modify. So I'm going to double click here on the background, and it takes me to this dialog that says customize window. And here in the general tab, you're going to find a box that says space to the right, by default set to 5. So if you want a little bit more padding here, think about the number of candles that you want space for, and you can increase that to 10 to 20 to 30, whatever space you want to allow on the right side of charting. That space to the right. In terms of padding at the top and at the bottom, we call those margins, and that's part of the symbol scaling. The scale here on the right-hand side, or the price scale, it's automatically set based on the highest point and the lowest point of the chart. That sets, the scale. But if you want to give yourself a little bit more space, then we have to modify the symbol. Now, we double-clicked on the background here just a moment ago. If you double-click on the candles themselves, it's going to take you to a different dialog, which is customize symbol. 2 different places. Just be aware where you are and what you're modifying. Double clicking on the background takes you to customize window, Double clicking on a candle takes you to customize symbol. By the way, these menus can also be accessed through the toolbar. I'm just showing you my way because I tend to use shortcuts a lot. And if I double click somewhere, I don't want you guys to feel lost. But if I go here to settings, I can model customize the window. And if I go to data, I can edit the symbol. Those are the two places where you would go to modify that. So let me go back here to customize symbol. And I'm going to go to the scaling because that's where I want to make the change. And we call that subgraph margin. And we turn that on. It's just a checkbox. And then you specify what percentage of the price value you want to allocate for a margin. Right now, it's set to 5%. If I click OK, it just gives me a little bit more space here at the top and at the bottom. I hope that helps, George. Pat is also asking, does TradeStation keep adding new indicators to the standard indicators? We do, exactly, Pat. We are always aware of what's happening in the industry, and if there's something new that is becoming popular and a lot of clients are requesting it, we'll add it to the library. So yes, we continuously monitor that, and you'll see the indicator pop up on your list of indicators. There's nothing you do, to get it there. If there's a new update of TradeStation, it usually comes with new indicators if we have any to add. Now, of course, if you go to the forums, I'm talking about the TradeStation forums, there is an easy language library where TradeStation users share indicators. So it's already out there, and a lot of times, TradeStation users will create these indicators even before we decide to add them to the platform. If that's the case, you may find some very cool indicators that have been shared in the forums before they become part of the platform, and you can get them there, beforehand. So make sure that you experiment there. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about drawing tools and talk a little about technical analysis on charting. A couple of things that I wanted to point out. I did mention that the down arrow key allows you to squeeze the chart so you can fit more historical data. The opposite, which is the up arrow key, allows you to expand or add more space between the candles. You also have this ability to squeeze a chart. So if you put your cursor right here on the scale, you can click and drag to squeeze a chart. So make sure that you also explore that, because once you do this, you're able to grab the candles and push them in any direction that you want. Notice that I'm just clicking and dragging the candles. It's very customizable, Once you're done, making changes to the scale and pushing things around, if you bring your cursor towards the bottom of the chart, you're going to see an overlay of buttons, and the last one is going to be a reset. I just click on reset, and it resets my scale to automatic. One of the quick things that I want to do here on charting is keep an eye on price. Today, we had a low of Bank of America. The low is 28.80 right here, 28.80. Right now, the current price is 28.89. Let's suppose that we want to be alerted if Bank of America makes a new low today. So I'm going to set a line or a type of an alert right there at 28.80 so that if Bank of America touches it, I want to be alerted. So I'm going to come over here to drawing, click on horizontal line. I'm going to click close to where the 28.80 is, check to see that it is the price that I want, double click on the line to get access to the customized horizontal line indicator, go to the alerts and enable the alert. As soon as I do that, well, I can change, how I want to be alerted. This is a continuous alert. I can do alert once per bar if I don't want to be annoyed by getting an alert every single tick. Sometimes I do that. And then I just click OK. And I just created a price alert using a horizontal line. I just added it, formatted it, and turned on the alert. And that's all you need to do. Now, I can leave this chart in the background, go on to something else. And as soon as Bank of America drops to 28.80 and touches that line, I'm going to be alerted. On this next workspace, I'm going to open up Radar Screen, which is the next application I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back to the chart in just a moment, but I just wanted to open this up so you can see that I can be working on something different, in this case, Radar Screen, and still receive an alert on that other workspace that is open. One thing, it's true though, you have to keep the workspace open in order for you to get that alert. Don't close it, because then There's nothing, calculating in the background. Let's go back here to the chart and talk a little bit about indicators. By the way, if you go to the drawing menu, we have a whole bunch of drawing tools that you can use, and most of them follow the same process of the horizontal line. You just click on the chart to add it. Horizontal line, it only takes one click to add. A trend line, it takes two clicks, the starting point and the end point, because you are drawing the angle of that trend line. So it has to have two anchor points. So you have to click twice on that chart to determine, the angle of that trend line. George, to your question, drawing, now that we're talking about trend lines, can you draw one trend line on a chart and have it appear on all charts? That is something that TradeStation does not support. However, let me show you something that I can do. I'm going to go to drawing. I'm going to go to trend line. Let me draw the trend line from this low to today's low. All right. Now that trend line that I just drew, notice that I clicked on the beginning point and the end point. Can also show another time frames, but not on different charts. So if I go here to another workspace and I open up another chart analysis, you can see that this 5-minute chart doesn't have it, right? However, let me show you a trick. So to answer your question directly, George, yeah, we don't support the showing of trend lines in different charts. However, you can copy the chart. I can go here to this workspace, right click. I want to copy the window. Then go to this other workspace, right click, paste the window, and it creates a duplicate of that chart. And here I can change the time frame to whatever I want, like 5 minutes, and still see that trend line down here. So that's the trend line that I drew on a 65-minute. Notice that it's not quite touching the prices that I wanted, and that's because I didn't use snap mode. Snap mode, you'll find here on the drawing menu. Snap mode is the functionality that allows you to snap to the prices, and it helps you have a little bit more precision. You see how I missed the low and the high significantly by just free styling my trend line. Let me try that one more time. So let me delete this. I'm going to delete this window. I'm going to go back to the workspace where I drew it. Let me delete that trend line. By the way, to delete a trend line, just click on it, press delete on the keyboard. Very quick. I'm going to go here to turning on snap mode, drawing, then going back to trend line. And I click down here, and I click up here. So that attaches to the low and to the high. If I right click and copy the window, let's see what happens. Right click and paste the window. All right, here we have the chart. I'm going to go here to time frame, go to 5 minute. That's interesting because it's not touching the low here. Oh, because it's right here. It is touching the low, but not quite, on the same bar. You see the anchor point is right at 2880, which is the low of the day, but it's drawn at the very end of the day. Same here. Let's see, where's the anchor point here? Let me squeeze the chart a little bit more. Same here. It's right at the price, but it's a little bit more ahead. It's just because of the time frame. One was drawn at 65 minutes, so the anchor points are going to be at a little bit different time. The low happened earlier in the day, so that's the main thing here. But it is exactly at the prices that you drew them. So the only way that you can get the same drawing tools on different time frames is by copying the window and pasting it somewhere else. Okay. Let me right click on the tab here and close the workspace to get rid of it. And back on my chart, let's go ahead and add some technical indicators. So all technical indicators are going to be here in studies and add studies. I want everyone here in class to explore all the studies we have. We have dozens and dozens, I would say hundreds of indicators here. So make sure that you explore. We have them organized in 5 main categories. You see them, the tabs right here. Most of them are going to be in the indicator tab. So you can look for one. Let's take a look at something simple that we can all understand. A moving average to line. Most of these, once you click on one of them and you highlight it in blue, you have access to definition. We have documentation on most of these technical ideas, and it opens help for you and it provides you information about how the study is calculated, the different parameters that you have available to modify. So it does provide you a lot of information about how to use that study. So make sure that you're using it in case you're not really familiar with that particular study. So I'm going to add it right here on my chart. I didn't have to supply any parameters because every study has default parameters. But if I wanted to, let's say that I'm interested in monitoring a 30 period against a 60 period. All I need to do is double click on the lines. I'm going to double click on the moving averages. Always be aware of the dialog that you're in. This is customize an indicator. And in the inputs tab, I can change the fast length to 30 and the slow length to 60. So you can use your own parameters. I'm going to click OK. And that changes my moving average. And of course, I'm looking for a crossover. One thing that I didn't show is that on that same dialog, when I go to format that indicator, I have an alerts tab. Alerts is one of the things that are turned off by default on TradeStation. So if you want to be alerted on anything that TradeStation provides, you have to go in there and turn it on. You know, we have a silent platform until you actually turn on alerts. You know, I think the only thing that you hear when you have the platform running is the opening bell. I'm not sure if you've heard it, but we do have like an opening bell for the stock market that goes on automatically, and you can disable that if you'd like. By the way, you know that I live in Central Time, so the morning bell goes off at 7 a.m. in the morning, which is the pre-market, and sometimes it's a little startling. You know, it's really quiet here at home. So alerts, enable alert. You can choose how you want to be alerted. You know, if it's once per bar or continuously, and you can modify your messaging. If you want an audible, a visual, or even an email sent to you, you can configure those there. Okay. So once I have that, then my moving averages are going to be monitored for that alert. Bill, if drawing is not an option on your toolbar, so if you don't find drawing up here, I'm not sure what you see though. Do you see time frame? Do you see the other tabs? Because you may be using, and it's one of the things that I try to convey at the very beginning of the presentation. Maybe I didn't do a very good job at it because you are probably using the web version of TradeStation. You're probably using web trading. So we talked about different trading platforms that you have access to, and that may be the problem, Bill, if you don't have a drawing menu. George is asking, is there a way to show the crosshair across all charts in the window? It is. You won't see a crosshair, but if you go to the style tab, not the style, right here, drawing, just no, it's not there. It's somewhere here. So give me just a moment while I thought it was style. Hmm. Right here, it's in settings. It's called pointer tracking. So if you want to have, you know, that anchor point that shows on all different charts, you just go to point settings, pointer tracking, and you can turn on for the workspace or even global. If you wanted to have, if your charts are on different workspaces, then use the global, which goes across workspaces and desktops. Let's see. Yeah, it's a vertical line. It's not going to be a crosshair. It just shows a vertical line. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and talk about, we just turned on the alert here on the moving averages. You know, if you're using moving averages, what you're looking for is for the averages to cross. That will either give you a bullish signal or a bearish signal. A very simple signal, you know, you would probably want to analyze other technical ideas just to make sure that there's going to be a change in trend, not because the moving averages are crossing, I'm going to go ahead and trade in and put in a trade. But yeah, the crossover implies that there's going to be a change in trend, either from bearish to bullish or bullish to bearish, but it's a trend following strategy. So when the markets are moving sideways, it doesn't do a very good job at, you know, signaling those. But if that's my thing, if that's my setup, if I want to filter by those moving averages, I can scan the market and ask the market, are there any symbols that are crossing right now, because those may present trading opportunities for me. And that's something that, the radar screen can help you do. I'm going to go here to this other workspace where I have my radar screen, and I'm going to add a whole bunch of symbols here. I'm going to go to the data menu and go to add symbol list. And I use this NASDAQ 100 index, which gives you all the components to the NASDAQ 100, all the stocks. So you have a list of 100 symbols. Now you can use the S&P 500, that's a list of 500 symbols, or the Dow Jones, that's a list of 31 symbols. You can go to other symbol lists. So we have a whole collection of different pre-packaged list of symbols that you can put in here inside of radar screen. You can create the list yourself. So if you wanted to type your symbols yourself, you're welcome to, and just go to the symbol column and type symbols one by one. I'm going to go to data, add symbol list, NASDAQ 100. It puts all those symbols right onto my radar screen. Okay, that was quick, right? I'm going to delete the first two rows. I'm going to resize my radar screen because I don't need all that space, or I need it, but I want to have also a chart here on the right-hand side. I'm going to go to apps and click on chart analysis. So this is what I alluded to when I said you can create the workspace yourself and just organize your windows just like I'm doing here. And having the two applications here on this workspace, I can link them together. So I can click on the S right here on the title bar, that's a symbol link, so that when I click on any of the symbols here on the S&P, this is the NASDAQ 100. Let's click on eBay down here, row 36. Then eBay gets loaded right here onto my chart. Pretty cool, huh? I'm going to go to studies here on my chart, click on add studies. I'm going to add the same moving average 2 lines that we were talking about. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to turn this chart into a daily chart because I'm going to do daily crossovers and see if I can find anything. You can also see an interval column here in radar screen, which comes very useful. Even though radar screen looks like a regular quotes window or a watch list, it's much more than that, because it allows you to use technical studies on it. So it's more of a scanning tool. And that's why it has this interval column, because you can specify what type of data you're going to be using for the calculation. Let me go ahead and remove some of the columns here that I don't need. I don't need these 4 columns. So let me highlight them, press delete, and I'm going to add a column. So let me go ahead and click on add study. I'm going to add the same moving average that I have in charting, which it's pretty impressive, if I may say so. Let me go here, moving average, 2 lines. I'm going to add it and then click OK. So this column right here that I just added, this is like doing exactly what I did here in charting, but on 100 symbols at the same time. So yeah, theoretically, this is like holding 100 individual charts in one application. Very powerful. But I'm going to change the time frame because these moving averages are calculated on 5-minute bars. So I'm going to go back here to the symbols, click on the symbol header to highlight all the symbols, go to time frame, and I'm going to change those all to daily. Notice our interval says daily and how my moving averages are recalculated based on that value. Let's take a look at the very top one, which is Apple. I'm going to click on Apple right here just to confirm my fast average is 180, 183, and that matches my fast average here on the chart, 180, 183. If you see the slow average is 180, 67, that matches the purple line, which is 180, 67. So same values, but instead of just doing one symbol, I have 100. So now here comes the cool part, because now I can ask radar screen, okay, which ones are crossing right now? And radar screen will tell me. So I just need to right click on the header for the moving averages. I'm going to do something similar that I did on charting, which is customize the study and turn on the alerts. So it tells me which ones are crossing, right? So I'm going to go here to studies, and I'm going to edit the moving average 2 lines for all symbols. So this is the same dialog that we saw here in charting. In the alerts tab, I'm going to enable the alert. For this example, I'm going to choose alert continuously, but I'm going to disable the sounds and the pop-up messages. I disable sounds and pop-up messages because I'm turning on an alert on 100 symbols. And the least I want is to get 100 alerts per tick on all this symbol. So I just want to be careful in how to, when I use alert continuously on a list of symbols, I just want to be careful about the frequency in which I could get alerts. So most of the time when I'm doing radar screen alerts, I do them as visual. I don't want to get any sounds. So it says right here in parentheses, for use when scanning for alerts in radar screen. I'm going to click OK. And something interesting happened here in my column. I'm not sure if you're able to see those little orange corners, but what I'm looking for is the red markers. You see there's one row that has a red marker. The red marker tells you that there's a real-time alert on that symbol. That symbol is ADP. If I click on ADP, and if I look at the moving averages right now, we have a very clear crossover on the current bar on those two moving averages. Bearish signal because the fast is moving below the slow, and it happened just right now. I can't say if it's a good trading opportunity. It's not my place to do that, but I'm showing you the tools that tell you, hey, this is a signal that is happening right now on the moving averages. Is there something there? What's going on with ADP? It's now we come to a place where we start asking ourselves, does this make sense to trade? Let me do some additional research. What's been happening in the past few days on ADP that's been going down? We had a high of 255 a couple of weeks ago, but now it's 247 going down to 245. What's going on? Is it time to go short ADP? Those are questions that are in the mind of every trader, but we found this bearish crossover using radar screen very quickly. If I scroll down, see if we find any other. Here's another one. This is microchip. Again, we have a bearish crossover. This is not so clear because we did have, a bullish crossover a few days ago, and now we have a bearish crossover. So when we get, back-to-back crossovers on the moving averages, we sense a little bit of indecision in the market, and maybe this is not as a clean signal as the one we saw for ADP, but it's interesting to look at as well. And then we have NVIDIA over here, which has also a bearish signal happening at the moment. So radar screen is a great tool for you to find stocks that are meeting certain criteria. In fact, I can filter my radar screen to only show those symbols. Right here at the top, we have a filter bar. The filter bar is going to allow you to filter your symbols and only look at the ones that are meeting the criteria that you're looking for. Let me show that to you in just a moment. So I'm going to come over here to the first dropdown. I'm going to filter by the moving averages, and I only want to see the ones that have an alert of true. And there we go. That only took us a couple minutes to set it up. We provided the symbols, 100 symbols. We provided the technical idea, and out of the 100 symbols, 5 are meeting the criteria for the moving average. 5 are giving us a crossover. It doesn't tell you exactly, because that's the way that it was written, the moving average. It doesn't tell us, if it's bearish or bullish. We can always modify the indicator to tell us that. But here on a list of 5 symbols, I can very quickly click on a symbol like Starbucks and see that I have a bearish signal at the moment. It's a bearish signal. It's a little bit contradicting because in the past 4 days, we see an increase in prices. However, we had a dramatic drop in price before that. And that, it's probably what generated that bearish signal. Remember that the moving averages are lagging indicators. It doesn't respond very quickly to what's happening recently. If you wanted a study that is a little bit more responsive to what's happening right now, then we would use something like an exponential moving average or like a weighted moving average. But the idea here is that on any technical study, you can just put it here in radar screen and find the symbols that are meeting your criteria. Pretty cool. All right, let's go over here to my next workspace, and I'm going to show you some trading functionality on the matrix. I don't show the trade bar because the trade bar is kind of intuitive, You go here, if you're trading equities or options or futures, you go to the proper tab, and then you fill in the boxes, and then you place your trade. A lot of times, we're not really familiar with a window like the matrix. And the matrix is a great way to place trades and manage trades as well. Let me just open this up. All right, so this is it loads up on the symbol that I was just looking at, Starbucks. I don't have a position open. That's why on the very top it says position 0. But here we have a lot of information going on. First, the current price of Starbucks is $96.64. Then you have this information on the red and the blue. So blue and red. Blue are all the buyers. So whenever any buyer submits an order to buy Starbucks, let's say at $96.50, it joins that group. There's 300 shares already being bid for at that price. So you get this visibility on orders that are waiting to get filled. These are unfilled orders. You're just waiting on the market maker's books to get filled because traders specified a price. So we have buying transactions here on the blue, and we have selling transactions here on the red. And the number, of course, is the number of shares that are waiting to get filled at each one of those prices. Why is that important? Because supply and demand is what drives the prices in any security, and it's cool to see that information. On a stock that is priced high, like Starbucks is not, I wouldn't consider it a cheap stock because it's $100 per share. It's not also extremely expensive like something else, but the range of prices here, it's pretty extensive. This goes from 96.82 all the way down to 96.42. So we have about a 40-cent range. A lot of times, we need more, especially if we're going to set a $1 or a $2 target or a stop. We need to modify this. There is an axis increment. Let me move my columns here in a little bit towards the very end that allows you to manage that scale. Here at the axis increment, we're showing the prices at a penny increment. I can go there, click inside the box, and set it to something higher, like a 5-cent increment. If I do that, notice that now the prices are listed at 5 cents increment, which reduces the range, and I'm able to see a little bit more. Because this allows me to see, groupings of orders a little bit better. I can also see volume a little bit better, and maybe place orders a little bit better as well. So if I wanted to buy, at the low of today, let's say, for example, it's trading at the high of today. So let's say, for example, if it breaks the high of today, I want to buy at 96.75. I can hover over the blue and send a stop order to buy at that price. Notice I just clicked on the blue and it submitted a trade. This is automatically, it automatically selects the order type for you. So if I click here on the above the current price, it sends a stop market order. I can click on the little box to remove it. And if you click on a price that is below, then it sends a limit order to buy at that price. And you click on the box to remove it. You notice how quickly I'm placing those orders. Every time that I click on the blue, it submits an order to buy. Anytime I click on the red, it submits an order to sell. And in this particular matrix, I've disabled confirmations. So you're not really seeing a confirmation pop up. So this practically turns the matrix into a one-click order entry tool. A lot of times, we like confirmations because you get a chance to double check your order. You see the quantity, you see how much this is going to cost you, just to make sure that you didn't fat finger a number or something and you messed up the order. Confirmations are great. But once you're familiar with the functionality, submitting an order here and there, the way that I did it here it's very efficient, very quick. So I can submit a trade at any of these prices that I see here, and I can do complex trades. I'm not complex in the form that, this is too difficult to understand. Complex in the form that you have entries with exits already tied all with each other. So if I know the price that I want to get in at, and I know my target and I know my stop, maybe I can do that all in one place. So let's say, for example, that I'm trading 500 shares of Starbucks. I'm going to attach an OSO. OSO, it's order sense order. So you have the primary entry order, and you're going to attach exits. which is an all-inclusive trade. It's a trade that you've planned out and you've already considered, how much profits you are expecting to make or how much losses you could make. So you've measured, profit targets and stop losses, and you're okay. You've accepted the risk and you're ready to trade it, and you want to do an all-inclusive trade. Here on the drop down, I have an exit bracket with one limit and one stop. So this is set to do that type of trade where you have an entry, which we're going to trigger in just a moment. And this is going to attach that exit bracket. If I go to the ellipses, it'll allow me to change the offsets because right here, I have a limit of 10 cents. Now, if I do 10 cents, I'm only trading 500 shares. So a 10-cent move is going to translate into $50 if we multiply that. Of course, I'm just doing the math in my head, and I can say, well, let me set my target to $1, and I'm going to set my stop to 50 cents. $1 means that I'm shooting for a target of $500 on Starbucks. I haven't looked at the chart. I haven't measured ATR or anything like that. But based on the movements that I see here, I don't see it as far-fetched, right? So $1 target, 50-cent stop. That's a 1-to-2 risk-reward ratio. And I'm just going to click OK. And that's it. All I need to do is submit that trade. Let's say that I want to buy my 500 shares at 96.50. I'm going to go here to the blue and click. And there we go. We have our buy order working for us. And then we have our target here at 97.50. And we have our stop right here at $96. So in one click, I was able to send those 3 orders. If I change my mind and I say, well, I've been waiting here 95.50 for a while, this is not filling me. Let me try to hit the market, but I'm going to hit the market with a little bit more detail. Let me go ahead and change my axis increment back to a penny. I have my entry right here at 96.50. Let me chase the market a little bit. I'm gonna change my price up to 96.65. There we go. I just clicked and dragged that order up to 96.66. The current price, and I just got filled. It just dropped enough for me to get filled, and I got filled at 96.66. You see that horizontal bar showing me where I entered. And if I scroll up, this is where I see that sometimes the axis increments is nice for you to use, but here's our 500 profit target, 96.66. And if I scroll down, I'm going to see that similar price down here for the stop. The stop is right here at $250, 96.16. So sometimes the axis increment does allow you to, bring the matrix in so you can see profit targets and stop loss. A lot of times, if I'm trading Starbucks and I don't want to adjust the axis increment, I have a chart on the screen because the chart will show you the orders as well. Let me bring it up. Where's my chart here? Chart analysis. Let me put it right here on the right-hand side. This is Starbucks, but I'm going to go and turn on account orders and positions. I turn this on. And there we see the orders on our chart. So it does give us a little bit more of a view. Let me go to a daily chart instead. All right. There's a daily chart of Starbucks. And you can see where we entered at 96.66, where the target is right here at 60 or 97.66 and the stop at 96.16. I don't show this in this class, but you can turn on something called chart trading right here on the chart, and you can move those lines very nicely. Let me get this off the screen. This is just some help. So if I wanted to, move my stop closer and push it to 96.50, I can just drag it there and submit that trade. Notice that I changed it here, and it changes right here on my screen as well. So if it drops to that level, I'm getting out. So there's a lot of places in TradeStation that you can submit trades. What I do want to encourage everyone here to do is to explore all the order entry functionality. We have many videos on the TradeStation platform that discuss every single order entry tool of TradeStation. So you have a lot of instructional videos that walk you through the different steps. This class, if you missed anything or you didn't quite get something, it's being recorded and it's going to be available on the YouTube channel sometimes in the next couple of days or so. So make sure that you check those out periodically for additional information. If this is not the platform that you were looking for education, we have archives on other platforms as well. I know that Manolo has been sharing links to our past webinars. So if you're looking for a session on the mobile apps, we have those recorded. You're welcome to check those out. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. We talked a little bit about charting, a little bit about scanning, and also a little bit about order entry. I hope you guys walk away with something new. And if you didn't, please ask. The chat is open. I'll be here, to address any questions. But I want to say, always check, the events calendar for any upcoming events. Make sure you join us for every session. And these are great opportunities for us to interact, get to know each other. And I do enjoy talking about TradeStation to you guys. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful afternoon. And I look forward to seeing everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.